Hi everyone, hope you're well. What is there to say about this person? To be honest, I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry, that was supposed to be a joke. Can we start again? Hi everyone, hope you're well. Today we're going to be learning about someone who we actually don't know that much about, but I'm going to try and fill in some of the information using history. I'm sorry, let me be serious. Today we're going to be learning about John Blanke. Okay, so this story starts with someone you might have heard of before, a young woman by the name of Catherine of Aragon. So Catherine was Spanish, and what was kind of a tradition at the time was if you were, let's say, in this example, English and of royalty, to strengthen alliances between countries, you married someone who was from a different country who was also strong so that you become stronger together. So she traveled to England in 1501, and in her entourage, which is a fancy name for the people that she traveled with, the historical records suggest that there was a person who travelled with Catherine of Aragon to England, and we now know this person to be John Blanke. So Catherine married Prince Arthur, who was the oldest son of King Henry VII. Unfortunately, 6 months later, he died. But, and this is where it gets really weird, they decided that, well, they still wanted that relationship with Spain, and so they said to Catherine, hey, well, there's another son, he's younger than Arthur, his name's Henry, so you're going to marry him instead. And that's basically what happened. She ended up marrying her dead husband's younger brother, who went on to be Henry VIII. And that, my friends, is what happened in the 16th century. That's just how they rolled back then. The first record we have of John Blanke is from December 1507 in an old book which kept lots of the records about financial transactions. And we see that John was paid about 20 shillings a month for his services. In this document, we see that he actually successfully negotiated to get a pay rise from about 8p a day, it's about 20 shillings, to 16p a day. And that translates to approximately 55 to about 70 pounds per day, which, to be fair, is not that bad. He probably made about twice as much as the average farmer and about 3 times as much as the average servant. So I actually haven't told you what he was paid to do. He was paid to be a trumpet player. In fact, he was one of 8 official royal trumpet players. What makes John Blanke really special and unique is the fact that he is the first black person that we have a picture and a name of in English history. And the fact that he was a musician, I personally think is very cool. The thing is, the only picture we have of him, and of course it's not really a picture, obviously this is the 16th century, so they didn't have phones or anything like that. The image we have of him is from a tapestry that was created in 1511, where we can see him playing at a Westminster Tournament. Back in the day, it was actually quite normal for European rulers to have employed people from different parts of Africa. And there are records that show us that this was happening all the way back in the 12th century. So bearing in mind, this is the 16th century, and while he's of some importance, he's not of that much importance for us to know the details about his life, such as when he was born, for example. We don't actually even know which country he came from. The thing is, back in those days, people weren't really recording their lives in the way that we do today. For example, I can let you know what I'm eating at any given moment. If I want to post to Instagram, I can share my thoughts on X, I can have a Substack, I can go on Twitch and stream. And for so many people, little bits about their lives are documented and stored on the internet or on your phones or on hard drives or whatever it is. Back in the day, many people weren't able to read or write. So even if they did want to share and document certain things, many people just couldn't. And plus, we're talking about 500 years ago. Things get destroyed, things get lost. And that's why people like archaeologists and historians are really important, because the things that they can find can help us to understand a little bit more about what life was like back then. Even the trumpet that John would have played doesn't look like a trumpet that you might be used to today. Usually we'll have 3 valves and people play it like this. The trumpet that John played back in the day, I'm saying back in the day a lot. John's trumpet is what we might call now a natural trumpet with no valves, and it would have been made up of one coiled tube. As part of John's work as a trumpet player, he would have performed probably with the other trumpet players at big royal events and maybe even just little things here and there. So we're talking funerals, weddings, birthdays, that kind of stuff. Maybe even like how the movies suggest, like someone's coming to see the king and they're playing a fanfare to like welcome them into the palace or something like that. He probably would have done stuff like that all the time. In fact, The records show that he played at the funeral of King Henry VII in 1509, and in that very same year he played at the coronation of King Henry VIII. Like I said before, we don't know that much about John's life, but the last thing that we do find out is that he got married in 1512. So the cool thing about this is that King Henry VIII himself actually gave John Blanke a few wedding gifts. The records show that he gave him a bonnet, a hat, and a gown of violet cloth. I think that's really important and really interesting because King Henry VIII is the same person who beheaded 2 of his wives. I don't think he was a very nice person, so for him to do something like this probably doesn't speak to how nice he was. I do think that him giving these wedding gifts to John Blanke is a sign of how important and maybe even how good John Blanke was as a trumpet player. We don't actually know what happened in John's life after this, but we can guess that he probably didn't live that long afterwards because the life expectancy at that time was about 30 to 35. And to be honest, it was healthier to drink ale, which is a type of beer, than water at that time. So chances are he probably didn't live that long afterwards. I think it's really cool because it tells me that England, even though that was 500 years ago, has been made up of people from different places all around the world and helped to build it up to the country it is today. So yeah, that is John Blanke. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Peace.